Hey folks, Quill18 here, and welcome to another episode of Let's Play Kerbal Space Program. It's our heavily modded game. We're currently on the way to Minmus with a trio of people. Getting to Minmus and getting back home is fine. The only thing is I really would love to do a rendezvous with the space station and dump off all the science to be processed. Assuming that works. Didn't there used to be something weird with, like, did it have to be around the same body? Like, can I bring the science from Minmus to in orbit around Kerbal over there and get it to tech up? I think so, but I'm not 100% sure. Anyway, we have our vessel over here. We're gonna go and remove the thrust limit over here so we can get full oomph for future stuffs. Get our landing gear out, and yeah, we're gonna go and land on here. We're gonna do a quick save as always before we do a big time warp, and we are going to do that. I don't remember if there's, like, a mode to quickly do it. Can I say, like, change the apoapsis to something? Ah, you will do that. Excellent. Then, actually, remove all nodes. Set it to, like, 20k. Create and execute. Thank you. That would be lovely. So there's going to be another 154 meters per second. Now, I mean, in a sense, you don't have to orbit to land. Except that you really do. I mean, if you're going to be killing all your sideways motion to do your landing, then at some point along the way, you're going to enter an orbit before your periapsis finally drops inside of the planet. So it's fine to do it first. Plus, I mean, like, do it explicitly, because then you've got time to plan your actual landing spot. It's different if you're entering something that's got an atmosphere, because then you can do, you know, atmospheric braking. We're going to grab you. We're going to grab you. And we're going to grab you, and wow, we are... That was very disorienting, because it's doing a time warp, and we're awfully close to the surface of Minmus. Because our periapsis is only 9 kilometers. And, like, look how close we are to the freaking surface of Minmus. That's amazing. That's really good. We should probably check an EVA. There might be, like, a biome that we can do here. We might have been able to do it while the burn was going on. It's not that strong, but we've certainly seen it before where we accidentally fling ourselves out of the ship. Let's get Billy Bobk to do this. Yeah, there we go. EVA report from here. Lovely. And you are going to take the data and restore. You're going to take the data and restore. Take data. So basically anything that's open. That's why I keep resetting it. Well, I guess it doesn't matter too much, but it's fine. We're going to board. See, I don't know why you want to repeat the material study, whereas the others you're smart enough to not, like, spam it. We did actually, like, grab that one, right? Yeah, there's nothing to review. Toggle array. Okay. So, let's figure out where we want to land. We would like to land on one of the flats. We would like to land where it's sunny because we've got solar power. And, so where did we land before? We landed here. Oh, yeah, we can grab the telescope. Maybe I can land over here. I don't remember what biome that was. And we transmitted some stuff. We don't have a biome map of the planet, unfortunately. Okay, here's what I can do. Quick save. I can switch to the lander probe. That's going to be fine. And so if I were to do a temperature, it's from the lowlands. Okay, that's kind of interesting. I mean, we can just do it with a map. Where's our ship? Right here. So if that's the lowlands... Because we're just above. We just passed. I'm betting this could be Highlands or Midlands, and it's space near Minmus. I think we're just going to hit the brakes here. I think that's going to be fine. Let's go and kill our horizontal velocity, which is just burning retrograde at first, although at some point the retrograde marker will change. And can we... Let's get the surface info. Cheers and thank you. Over here. Just to help us confirm our horizontal speed. Although again, what you're looking for is you're trying to burn sideways like this, bleed off your horizontal speed until... Okay, I'm turning off the gimbling. Something about these are very confused. Or did we just kill... Oh! I overshot. I did not realize I overshot on my horizontal thing. And really, like, you don't have to kill it all ahead of time. So if we switch to surface mode, that's the other important thing. And I turn this off. Our retrograde marker will be at the top of the ball. There it is. And that's what you're looking for. So, with that in mind, we are now descending straight down. We are not very high above the surface. Well, 5 kilometers isn't too shabby. We're going to set ourselves to retrograde. This S-vel is the same as if I just said retrograde while we're in surface mode. Literally the same thing. That's going to be our primary descent. That way, if we do end up going a little sideways, it'll also bleed off a little bit of the sideways speed when we do that. But at some point, I'm going to want to lock myself to normal stability assist, or with mech jeb, I'm going to want to lock myself to up just to make sure we don't accidentally, if we overburn and we start moving upwards, then our retrograde and prograde markers will flip, and that would be double plus on good. So, assuming that this is vaguely correct, I'm not going to risk exactly, but I'm wondering if I should just try it one day. Just try to do this like exactly based on the suicide burn. Trust it and not slow down beforehand. Well, let's go ahead. Yeah, that's pretty good, actually. I'm going to switch to explicit upness now. Where's our shadow? I don't know. Oh, there it is. All right. Yeah, that's a better burn timer is giving you some of that data, which is neat. So we can save a little bit of delta V by doing things that a little closer to suicide burn. So I'm happy as long as we land less than 4 meters per second. That should be very comfortable. The lower we land, the less chance that we'll bounce or slide awkwardly. There we go. That's pretty okay. And let's go and grab all the experiments here. Choop, 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 choop. I don't think we have a need to reset anything. I'm going to turn off all the... Well, we'll turn on the stability test for a second. Try to encourage this to settle down. Looks like we have fully settled at this point. Another quick save. I could go and grab... Well, I could go and grab all the experiments. It might make life a little simpler if I did. What's in here? Oh, the Gorsat. Right, the Gorsat's different. I didn't need to bring it. Oh, well. Tell you what, we'll get Valentina to go out. She's the commander of the operation. We're going to take an EVA report. We can get a surface sample from here, which always feels a little bit odd, but sure, why not? I'm going to... Huh? How come I can't... Oh, I can't retract it. These are no non-retractable ones. I'm just worried about hitting that on the way down. Now, I would like to turn on her RCS now so that it could float away, but I don't think there's any way to do that, which is kind of a little annoying. Let go, RCS, and then do this. There we go. I just want to avoid breaking that solar panel. I mean, it's fine. We're going to be okay with, 3. In fact, we'd probably be fine with no solar panels. No, not with the life support mod, because we only have a day worth of power. Excellent. So, any chance that it's offering us a contract to plant a flag on Minmus? Probably not until we complete. Oh, there it is. Excellent. Close this window. Plant flag. Ta-da! Tastes like ice cream. Ah! Boom. We gotta take the obligatory screenshot. I kind of like it. You know what? I like this with the sun there and the sort of shadow. It's very, very moody. I mean, normally you would face the light, but there's something kind of cool about this, you know? Boop. Okay. I like it. Okay. RCS on. Down a little. Forward. Up. 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 Now, it could get everyone to plant a flag. Actually, they changed it, so as long as you're within physics range of flag planting, everyone is supposed to get XP from it. It doesn't matter either way, we're going to end up at level 2, but still. So we will board. So I think we're good here. The only question is, will we have enough delta V? I think we'll have enough delta V to enter Kerbin orbit. Well, as soon as we escape Minmus, we'll be in Kerbin orbit. I think we'll have enough delta V to descend to a reasonable orbit, but I strongly suspect we will not actually be able to rendezvous, which is a darn shame. Anyway, we're gonna take off here. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna orientate ourselves, actually surface mode here. So we're straight up for now. So I'm gonna go and then sideways. And there we go. 10K apoapsis is gonna be fine. We'll ask to just circularize over here. Gonna be a very short burn to do that. We can bring in our landing gear. Oops, not while we're time warping. So just temporarily enter orbit, because we need to give ourselves some like horizontal boost regardless. It's almost it's conceivable that we could launch in a certain way to escape. Like if we just burn straight up, for example, we do escape velocity of the Minmus without ever raising our periapsis outside of Minmus. But it's pretty unlikely that that will be the right direction unless we just sat around waiting. We could probably save a tiny bit of delta V if we did that. And I mean, we are going to have some delta V issues, so maybe that would be a good idea. But we'll see what we can do. Okay, so what we want to do is Minmus at the top, so we want to escape going sort of leftwards. So I'm going to want to go to right around here, and we'll be burning orbital prograde right around here. I could plan a maneuver, but I have faith that it's going to be probably okay. Probably. Time warping at times 50 is not as fast as you would think. If we'd gone up higher, we could have time warped faster, but that would not have been quite as fuel efficient. Yeah, it's interesting. If we just burned prograde from our where we were, I wonder if we could have just gone in one shot. I don't think much makes much of a difference. All right, I'm going to call that probably good enough. All right. Ooh. That's not entirely ideal, but it ain't bad. We're going to go ahead and time warp. Come on. Rise, rise, rise. There we go. Time warp out of here, and then we'll just be going orbital retrograde to lower our Kerbin periapsis. Kerbin. I don't know why I said it so oddly, but there it is. Okay. Retrograde and periapsis. I wonder if we can get a moon encounter at some point and what that might mean. Well, that actually will drop our periapsis, because right now our periapsis is basically right around here, and after swinging around the moon, we'll end up with a periapsis there and a much lower apoapsis, because our apoapsis is up here right now. So actually, we are going to save a ridiculous amount of delta V by accepting this moon encounter. Let me do a quick save here and see, is there any chance... okay, we got lots of time. Just sucks when you plan a maneuver and it takes so long to plan a maneuver that you pass it. If I burned more retrograde... No, that would actually raise it. Yeah, we can't really get much more here. If we did a little radial, anti-radial, which we'd probably do... I think I had the wrong number highlighted. Hang on. Is that possible? It's not just possible, it's probably very likely. Yeah, there we go. It's that periapsis marker I want to track. Yeah, it doesn't feel quite like we can do a huge tweak from here. What about from over here? Not really. Okay, so maybe in Mars orbit, or Moon orbit. One of those M words. Now I know I can just like warp to this, and I guess I'll use that. So every now and again, weird things happen. Every now and again, lots of weird things happen. It's Kerbal. But yeah, this encounter is going to save us a fair amount of Delta V. Because it's not just a question drop in the apoapsis. If we want to enter into a matching orbit with the space station, we are ultimately going to be looking to lower apoapsis as well. Okay. So, now that we've got that, at the periapsis... Oh, apparently we can sign some more here. Nice. At the periapsis... we're going to want to add a maneuver. And our goal of this maneuver will be to lower a periapsis, or whatever. We're missing a marker here. There it is. Now, we're pretty high above the moon, so I don't think we're getting much of an Oberth effect. 12,000, like, it's 175 Delta V. I'm not convinced that that's doing huge amounts for us. Whereas, we're going to leave there. There it is. It's going to be right over here. If we plan to maneuver here, and we're just like, burn retrograde, 175 basically gets our periapsis where we want, and then from our periapsis we can then do another retrograde burn to lower the apoapsis. Yeah, I think it's fine. There's probably an optimal thing, but I don't know what it is. So we'll do it in a pair of burns. We'll go through here. Come on. Why are you stopping this? Do you have an experiment? An experiment trying to run? I wonder if the game just got confused because I asked it to time warp to a particular thing. There we go. Seems to be stopping something. So what we want to do here is we're gonna decrease our periapsis from the apoapsis. Now, the best thing to do to rendezvous with the space center, well, I mean, we're going to ultimately do some sort of Hohmann transfer, but can I set this as a target? I think it's too far away. I can't. Can I set Kerbal as my target? No, not the sun. No! Shit! That's not the first time that's fucked me up. I'm trying to shift tab to tab through, but if the nav ball is open, then shift does bad things. Okay, there's Kerbal. No, not the moon. Shift tab without the thing being open. How come I can't set this as a target? Burr? And also, why does it have a little ticky around it? I'm thinking it's some sort of weird UI thing. There. Set as target. That was weird. We're not in a very circular orbit. Out of curiosity, could you figure out a Hohmann transfer? No, an error has occurred. So that's fine. So here's what we're going to do. We're just going to time warp. Or I'm going to ask, can I get the info on this from here? I'm not sure. What do we have it at? 150? Can I get that information from mousing over this? Maybe. Yeah, 150. So here's what I'm just going to want you to do. I want you to change the periapsis to 250 kilometers. There we go. So that's going to be half the maneuver. And then at the periapsis, what we can do is we can burn retrograde at that point to drop the apoapsis. But we know at that point that our periapsis is going to be somewhere on the same orbit at 150K as the space station. So as we burn retrograde to lower apoapsis, at some point it'll mean that as we complete our orbit, however long the next pass of our orbit will be, we'll arrive back at our periapsis at the same time as the space station. This is going to be a very easy way to do a rendezvous in a single orbit of, like, in a single one of our orbits. So the only question will be, how high up will the apoapsis be for that orbit to happen the way that I want? And also, is there any chance we'll have the delta V to do it? Again, no matter what, we're in orbit around Kerbal, so we're not going to go flying off into space. So we've at least gotten that working for us. Boom. All right. So we're going to quick save here. So yeah, so what we're going to want to do is at our periapsis, we've got a target set. At our periapsis, we're going to want to burn retrograde to bring down our peri. But this is very awkward to try to plan this maneuver. But you can see our separation. By doing a very, very, very tiny burn here, we can ensure that we will be very close to one another. There we go. About 6 kilometers apart for now. It's about as good as I can plan it. That's only 2 meter per second burn. And what it means is on the next orbit, we'll be right next to the space station. And then when we're right next to the space station, we're going to burn hardcore retrograde relative to orbit. Well, either retrograde relative to orbit or retrograde relative to the station, which is basically going to be the same thing, to kill our relative motion next to the station and enter into a similar orbit. The only question being, execute next node. The only question being whether or not we're going to have enough delta V to do that. 460 is not very much. I suspect we'll still be in too high of an orbit in the end. And then we'll have to plan a rendezvous. But what's interesting is we do actually have a mission to dock an unmanned probe in orbit of Kerbal. So we can send an unmanned probe with a big fuel tank to rendezvous with our little ship here. So it's going to be a slight burn. Something like with this precision is probably only something that we could do with MechJeb, because I would be, even at 1% burn, that would be really hard for me to pull off. All right. So in theory, if we warp all the way around again, how are we doing on life support? Oh, yeah, we don't have it in this view, but it should be fine. We had like 111 days worth of stuff. There's the station. There's us. We're going to be pretty wonky to it, but hopefully it'll be okay. So again, we're basically going to burn retrograde compared to Kerbal, but also retrograde relative to the target's velocity. Yeah, see, that's what I was afraid of. We've got 1,000 meter per second delta V differential between us and the target. Therefore, and we don't have enough fuel for that. Now, those numbers will go down as we get closer to the actual contact point. Our velocities will come closer and closer to matching, but it's not going to be enough. Damn. All this work. And we didn't get there. But that's what I was afraid of. I probably could have done a lot more math. One to the other. It's estimated to be a 35-second burn, and we had about 10 seconds worth of fuel in there. Oh, that's so sad. There you go. That's as close as we get. So we're still going to pass by it at 500 meters per second. But that's all right. Again, we're in a good, safe orbit. We've got tons of food. 84 days left of food. That's not a problem. What we have to do is we have to rendezvous with this ship, and we have to feed it some fuel. And we're going to use that as an opportunity to do our unmanned docking mission. Let's see what we're talking about here. Let's go to the space station. I think I've already accepted that mission. Pretty sure. And the thing that we dock with, we can go and bring it. We might want to dock and then ditch, but I was going to say we could bring it some RCS fuel and then stay connected. Active. Oh, here it is. Remote Kerbal orbital docking. So it's got to be a probe that docks with something else. Oh, it's doing that thing where it blinks away for some reason. Okay, so that's easy. That's nothing. Ba-da-da-da-da-da. It'll actually be a really light ship. It's not even need like a crazy amount of fuel or rocketry. All we need to ensure that this happens is we need a probe core of some kind. That one's still more expensive, right? But it's so light. It's more expensive, but it's lighter. And honestly, I think that's going to be a good thing. It also has a lot of battery charge, so you're getting what you pay for. We're going to have that. We're going to have a docking module on top, and we're using a full clampatron, which does make this slightly more awkward. Let's see here. We're going to have a fuel tank to reload it. I don't know how much fuel we're going to need. Probably just something like this. I guess one of the questions would have been, when we had all the fuel in tank, we should have checked to see how many liters that was. I'm betting this is enough, but I'm not 100% sure. So, to be safe, we'll grab an FL400. There we go. This is what we're going to refuel with. We are going to be doing a dock, which means some RCS procedures. So we may as well bring... It's like ridiculous. Is that the smaller one? That's the smaller one. We may as well bring some RCS with us. And we don't need much battery. This has got, what, 200 electric charge? It might be enough. It might not be. I guess we'll bring some solar panels. Trio is going to be fine for good coverage. The question is if we happen to do the docking on the dark side, but no, it's going to be fine. 200 electric charge is going to be plenty to work out the docking. But life will be easier. I'm betting we can use the small ones. I'm not 100% sure. I guess we'll use the bigger blocks. They feel a little ridiculous, though. Anyway, I'm going to have it opposite the solar panels so that we don't spray onto the solar panels, which isn't actually a thing, but it feels like it should be. Now, I don't want this fuel tank to be what we actually consume here. It might be what we might end up leaving this part connected to the ship. That might not be so inappropriate. So let's assume then that we're going to have a small docking module. That's a Sepratron. I was thinking this stack decoupler here. And then we're going to have an extra fuel tank. We're not going to need much for this because it's quite light. That plus a carrier. And there's no fuel transfer from here. So the fuel amount in here doesn't matter. That's 800 meter per second delta V. So it is pushing a lot of weight. And that's probably going to be okay to figure out our rendezvous. But again, let's just make sure. We didn't overkill the last mission. And as a result, we fell just short in terms of fuel. So we will go ahead and overkill this one. 1400, that I feel much, much better about. So we'll use a regular decoupler, and we'll use a couple of FL800s that actually get connected. Thank you very much. You, and we'll throw a swivel engine on there. How are we for weight? Not quite enough, and not quite enough delta V either. That's okay. We're basically there. We're going to throw on a fairing. Like so. Put you on there. Copy off to the side. Throw on a pair of radial decouplers. Throw this on here. Grab... I still like doing the actual fuel ducts because it makes the staging much more clear. Whoops. Like that. A strut connector on the bottom. I think this will definitely need fins for stability at the bottom of this stage over here. I can't tell if that's positioned exactly where I want it or not. Yeah, that looks okay. We need all the engines to light first before things get decoupled off. So now we're looking at 5100. I mean, clearly enough to get to orbit, probably enough to work out the rendezvous, but I will make 100% sure by doing that. Ridiculous amounts of overkill, and I'm okay with it. And then that, so now all the engines will light. We got a lot of thrust to start off with, but that's okay. And something like that. They've all got the strut connectors. Now we've got 6,000 meter per second delta V. That should be more than enough. It's tricky because, like, it's not as straightforward to work out those rendezvous, but yeah, it should be fine. So we've got this and that looks okay. So we're going to call this the Refueler Mark 1, and it should satisfy that contract. So I guess I'm going to have to put a cut in here. And next episode, we'll do a rendezvous with rendezvous with this refueler and the other thing, completing our contract and doing that. So we are spending 26K to get some extra fuel up there, but you know what? 2 birds, 1 stone. Well, it's kind of 1.5 birds, we're going to call this. 1, we need to complete the contract with an unmanned probe. So that's okay. We could have this bring up some extra supplies too for the space station, but the space station hasn't been up that long, so I think we're okay. All right, thanks for watching, folks. I'll see you guys next time.